Assalamu alaikum guys, how are you? Am I audible? Am I audible guys? Please answer me. So we may continue. Okay, that's good. Okay, fine guys. Okay, as you know, my name is Rabia. I just qualified CSS written exams, and now we are going to discuss some political evolution from 1947 to 1978. We will try to cover the later on era too, but let's see how the time will go on. Okay, guys, anyone who basically want to have recap of what we have done in last class? If you are interested, then I will give you a small recap and then we will continue. Okay, fine. So we are going to have a recap. First of all, as when Pakistan was basically came into being, we have many problems in our hand. Like there was a rehabilitation of refugees. Besides this, there was also some reservations from East Pakistan and West Pakistan that took a lot of time to make the constitution. And in making constitution, we had three drafts. In one draft, there was a representation by population as well as equal representation by provinces. So in the second draft, there was a parity principle that was also rejected. And later on, Muhammad Ali Bogra gave a formula named as Bogra formula that was basically accepted by both wings, and our constitution was about to came into being. And after in the aftermath, when the constitution was about to come to being, General Muhammad Ghulam Mirza dissolved the assemblies, and this was the time when constitution was basically delayed for you can say for a small period of time as well. Okay, fine. This was basically the constitution brief history that happened in our country. Later on, there was a government of Governor General Ghulam Muhammad, and in that government, Muhammad Ali Bogra was basically prime minister, and he gave later on the constitution from Bogra formula that we already have discussed. Okay, fine. When Governor Ghulam Muhammad was basically out of country, there came Sikandar Mirza, who basically took an oath of as a president basically. And later on, then came the era of Ayub. Ayub was basically not happy with having a role of only chief martial law administrator, and even he was also offered the role of prime minister, but he didn't like that, and he abrogated the constitution. He just imposed martial law, and there came the era of Ayub. Okay, fine. Guys, I have given the recap. Is it fine? We can now continue with Ayub era. Is it okay? Okay, you want me to go on slow pace. Lastly, when I went with a slow pace, people were having reservations that Miss, please kindly go a bit long. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. I'll go from now from the low pace. Okay, fine. Guys, first of all, I want to share some glimpses of the history, like Yubera, what the reforms were there, and then there was Yahya, and then there was Bhutto era, and then there was the era of Zia. Okay, if we see the Ayub era was basically characterized with you can say we can. Um, I think how we can going to okay, we are going to handle it by the with the national era as well as international politics. And on the international politics, U was basically pro-US. He was having the policies that pleased US. Okay, fine, on the international era. Besides this, there was also reforms, and in that reforms, he introduced basic democracies, the system of basic democracies. And on that system, basically, he he fought an election and got himself as a president against Fatma Jinnah. Okay, there was also a problem that at that time we encountered with was war of 1965. Later on, the political event happened, that was a war of Tashkent Declaration. Tashkent Declaration was basically an agreement between Lal Bahadur Shastri from India and Ayub from Pakistan. And in this declaration, it was decided that from now bilateral relations are going to be smooth, but that created chaos in our, you can say, country. People were having reservation that we must not bend ourselves before India. So they started some protest. The situation went out of the hand, and he handed power to Yahya Khan, because he saw that the situation is not in the position that he may continue with this policy. So he handled the power. Besides this, there was also an important event, that was water treaty that happened in 1960 between US and, sorry, between India and Pakistan, in which some of the rivers were allocated to Pakistan and some of the rivers were allocated to India. You know all the details, as you are all CSS aspirant. Okay, from here, Yahya was having a lot of problems in the political arena. He was having reservations of people that election should be there. So election happened, and in that election, Awami League was the winner, and Awami League was winner, and people that people that was PPP basically from Bhutto was basically against it. It was the opponent. So there were two political party. First was Awami League and the second one was PPP. Awami League won, but Bhutto was at that moment, you can say that he was a power hungry. So he did not let the first session of assembly happen, and he delayed it. That created political turmoil in East Pakistan, and that ultimately resulted into fall of Dhaka. Okay, because there was Bangladesh resistance, he said that West Pakistan is basically snatching the rights of East Pakistan of making government. Besides this, there was not coalition between East Pakistan leaders and West Pakistan leader. In this situation, basically, Yahya imposed a martial law. He started the Operation Searchlight. You people must have an idea about Operation Searchlight. Guys, I am not giving you slides at that moment. We are going to discuss till Nawaz Sharif, then we will go to slides and you may ask questions. So I will give a lot of room to you guys to ask questions for me. So please relax. There is no slides now. Right now, you are having a political turmoil history right now, and we are just revising and having a short glimpse of that. Fine? Are you okay with that? Because when you see slides, you get confused and okay. So we are having a story kind of history. So we were there that what Yahya did in Bangladesh, that is now Bangladesh at that moment, that was East Pakistan. Political turmoil was there. There was no political coalition between the two parties. Besides, there was also Operation Searchlight that agitated basically the East Pakistan, and then that eventually, with the help of Indian armies and Indian troops, eventually led to the fall of Dhaka. Okay, after even then, uh, there was the separation of our eastern wing. Yahya got disappointed. He handed over power. He handed the powers to Bhutto, and he resigned from his post. Bhutto, in the first meeting to that was basically first address, he said that Pakistan is saved. Look how politicians do propaganda. Even you people are having an idea that Eastern wing was separated from Western wing. But he said Pakistan is safe now. Now we are on the right track. This was the thing that that politicians even now followed. Whatever the situation is, they just give a narrative and they just let people follow their Even now many people have stance that separation of eastern Pakistan was very necessary at that moment. Even now people are having that views, but I don't think so that having a geographical separation of some and in the political chaos like this can be flagged as a good thing. Okay. Yes, more than 2 lakh people were killed during Operation Searchlight. Not even more than 2 lakh. Many women, Bengali women, were raped, and there were forces like Mukti Bani that were helping, and the aid came from India that helped Eastern Pakistan to get separated from Western Pakistan because they didn't want Pakistan to be on the strong face. Fine. Okay, Shahidhan, that was a good addition to the knowledge. Yes, we lost geographical location that was, we lost geostrategic location that was not good. Do you think so? Don't you know that Europe ruled many geographical situations, geographical locations? That was basically the problem on the part of collection, who did not basically handle the situation very well. They did not address the reservation of Bangladesh. There was a person named Mujibur Rahman. He gave 6 points, and he keep on hopping with the same string that we need artists write this. Although some of the points were valid and they could be taken into consideration, but there must be a political acumen to handle the situation. Yes, losing that wasn't a good thing. Okay, from guys, from now we'll move toward the Bhutto era. That Bhutto era, Bhutto era, there were many reforms. There were some international events, and if we see the reforms, he marked this era as the socialization, social reforms. You can say he marked the basically era of Bhutto can be marked as a socialization, because in the socialization, you people know about what is the socialization? You people know? Please, please answer me. Okay, give us some of the features of socialization, guys. And please actively participate, otherwise things are going to be crucial for you. No, that was okay, fine. Nationalization is another thing. That also happened in the Buddha era. But I am asking about socialization. What it actually means. Okay. Okay. Kindly participate. Your participation is highly appreciated. Okay, guys, let's go with it. Socialization is basically having people meet their demand. Okay, meeting the demands of basically people. Sorry, I uttered the wrong line. Making people demand fulfilled, and it's just like the communism. It's just like the communism. All the sources should belong to government, and people are going to have their share. There was basically a shift from capitalism in the EU era to the communism. That was basically also you can say whenever there is a political event, there is a international pressure and there is an international politics that impact on that thing. So you can say that China was having a soft corner and they were tilting toward China, and they were going far from the US, and this agitated the US actually, and the ousting of Bhutto, US played the role in a kind. It's a kind of capitalism and communism. No, it's not a hybrid between capitalism and the communism. It's a very less of, I don't think so that more of the capitalism, very less of the capitalism, but more of the communism. Okay, as we were talking about Bhutto era, there were reforms and we said there was a nationalization policy. And in that era, basically, Workers' Day of Love May 1 was celebrated. He addressed the demand of workers. He basically he laid foundation of workers court so that people may get justice on instance basis. Besides this, there were many social programs. There were he laid the foundation of even steel mill. Okay, on international event, if we say that he basically initiated our nuclear program, that was something extraordinary about him, because if we will not be having a nuclear bomb right now, many powers have suppressed Pakistan. Yes, he did. He gave land reforms. And can you please? Okay, let me have some questions of you guys so that we may continue with the clear thoughts. Ma'am, why did Bhutto take oath as a civil martial law administrator? Was it a post at that time or the hierarchy to reach the prime ministership? He, yes, when Yahya resigned from when Yahya resigned from his oath, Bhutto took the power of civil marshal administrator, and it was the first time in the history the civil martial law administrator post was introduced, as well as he took the oath as a president of Pakistan. But let me tell you an interesting thing about him, that after the constitution in 1973, he stepped down from the presidentialship and he took the oath as the prime minister of Pakistan, because many power were vested in the prime minister of Pakistan. Screen issue? What is that screen issue? I am not sharing any slides right now. I will share at the end of lecture, but let me complete the history. Let me complete a glance of history. Anyone else who want to have some question? I can wait only 1 minute and then I'll continue. People, is the lecture boring? Am I not able to add some interesting events? Please answer me. Please. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, let's continue with the other thing. Then I will take some question of you guys. Okay. Okay, we were having a discussion on Bhutto era. There were reforms and there were events. That was okay, fine. There was an event of Shimla agreement that Bhutto had with Indira Gandhi. I think I am right. That was on 2 July 1972, perhaps. I think I'm right. Okay, yes. There was a Shimla agreement. There was an agreement between the government of India as well, with the government of India and Pakistan, that they will continue with the bilateral relation, and the line of control was determined at that time. This was basically Shimla agreement, and the thing that is important in Shimla agreement is that they will handle all the matters by having bilateral conversation, and later on it also become practical for Pakistan to make India agree to have the court of special justice, so that they may handle the situations. And they take the stance of Shimla agreement every time, that all the matters should be bilateral and there must not be any third party intervention. This was basically the thing. Okay, fine. Okay, this was the first time when the government of Pakistan completed its term, like in 1977. The election was held, and were held basically, and in that election, there PPP again won, but there was a coalition of opposition led by Maulana Modudi. Perhaps I can recall the name. He was leading up opposition, and that Maulana Modudi reached and he approached Ziaul Haq, that was at that time a martial law administrator, and he said that Zia's policy is anti-Islamic and we need to take an action. This was the basically treachery on the part of Maulana Madudi, and later on Zia give some room that both parties should negotiate on the table, but there were some critical situations and scenario that led to the Zia to step forward and impose third martial law. This was the time. Bonapartism. Can you please explain, Shahidan, what is Bonapartism? Yes, in the Shimla Agreement, the prisoners were also released. That was basically held by Indian Army in 1971, fall of Dhaka tragedy. Okay, please hold your questions. I'm going to take your questions once I am done with the history. It's only, you can say, just give me 15 minutes and I'll wrap up this discussion. Then I will come to your question and try to answer all of them, inshallah. My internet connection is unstable. Am I audible, guys? Is the voice clear? Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, then came the era of Zia, and this era was basically characterized by the Islamization. There were many laws on the political arena that impacted public, like there was Hudud Ordinance, there was media reform, and there were many laws any people who is in Ramzan must not eat openly. This was the Islamization. But the bad thing about Zia was that he postponed the election. He postponed the election to a point where people agitated and people were angry that there is no democratic rule and there is only one man show. This was basically the agitation on the part of people. And there were 11 parties that started movement for democracy. I think it was MRD, movement for restoration of democracy, I think. Yes, am I right? Okay, this basically played a crucial role, and even after when he decided that the political situation is going out of the hand in 1985, there was partyless election and Muhammad Khan Junaiju was appointed as prime minister by Ziaul Haq. Okay, then you all know the tragedy of the airplane crash, and then came the era of Bhutto, Benazir Bhutto, because in that people were also having some grievances like hanging of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, so they were having a soft corner. The same thing happened later on in the history when what the same thing when after 7 years election held. No, in 1977 the election held. Yes, there were 7 years, but the government was able to fulfill its term. Guys, please hold your question. Let me complete it. Just give me 5 minutes, please. I'll take all of your questions. Okay, there was the Benazir Bhutto era, and the decade of 1980 and 99 is, you can say, symbolized with the oscillation between Benazir Bhutto and other one was Nawaz Sharif. Okay, so if one party is in the power, there is a corruption charges against it, and the then chief marshal law ousted that party, and on the other time when the Nawaz Sharif is in the power, there were also the corruption charges. So these both, like Benazir Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif, were having a lot of corruption charges, and although it was a civilian government, but none of the party could complete its term. So then you can say then came the era of Musharraf again, that there is a political turmoil and any civilian party is not able to complete its stuff. That is another discussion, guys, and we will jump into the discussion once we will complete this. I think I have made myself clear. I have given you glance of the history. Now your questions are welcome. Yes, 2008 was another case of petty votes. Yes. What happened in the France after the French Revolution? Similarly, Bhutto was trying to reform the Pakistan society by introducing several initiatives like putting army into the. Yes, he put army into the limited role. Even he ousted many of the general from their position. And when जब army के साथ पंगा तो फिर not चंगा. And can you please explain MRD, PNA, and alliances for restoration? Okay, guys. MRD is basically movement for restoration of democracy, as there was one man rule in Ziaul Haq era. Parties from 11 parties started to have a coalition to have movement of for restoration of democracy. They demanded election at that time. And DNA, okay, fine. Let's have some slides. Let me. आप ऐसा करें, आप अपनी स्लाइड्स जो है ना वो खुद पढ़ लें, उसमें अगर कोई भी प्रॉब्लम आती है तो हम वो डिस्कस कर लेते हैं, ठीक है? आप एक दफा ना उसको देख लें. PNA was basically Pakistan National Alliances. That was also another 9-party alliances to dislodge Bhutto from power. Because you know that in Benazir Bhutto, when a party is in power, there is always opposition. And this was the opposition of Benazir Bhutto, the Pakistan National Alliances. They allege that the polls are rigged and the first martial law was imposed not because of the economic, but due to, yes, there was always some political chaos as well as economic situations that invited military to intervene. And even I am not sided with military entirely, but there were also some uh, you can say faults on the part of military as well. They were not having a clear stance and they were power hungry at that time, and they did not want people to have a say in the government. As I said, that EU was against the democracy. He said that 15% literacy rate is not suitable at that time. Any other question? As I'm audible? Hello, please answer me, because nobody is answering me. Okay, then participate in the discussion. Okay, I think you people are viewing slides. What you suggest this time regarding Pakistan affair? I could not answer you, Naval. What is your exact question? And can it be argued that current political conditions show that we have not learned? Yes, we have not learned our cases of our lessons from fall of Dhaka. In Balochistan, insurgencies are there. People are having, there is a forceful detention of people, and people are having a lot of grievances. You must prepare a question of Balochistan case and compare it with Bangladesh and the fall of Dhaka tragedy. We must learn our lessons from the history. About the central province relation from 1950 to 1900. Central province relation from 1950 to 1971. Can you please tell me the from in which paper he has asked this? Because I had prepared all of the past papers at that time when I was preparing it. There was not any question. They asked basically central province relation in the post regarding the post 18th amendment. We can ask question regarding this. Before 1950 to 19 in between 1950 to 1970, there was no any kind of relation like that can be considered. Please review this, Mariam. Yes, adoption of parliamentary system in Pakistan is the result of political experiences. As you have seen that when civilian government is there was a presidential form of the government, and as the same was the case with the martial law administrator, there was a one-man show. People were not integrated. Guys, azan ho rahi hai, I think. Can you take a break of 2 minutes and we will continue, and I am going to take every question of you guys. Okay guys, I'm back. Are you here? Okay, there is a person named Samad who asked. Okay, I will repeat questions so that you may also have an idea that what are the questions. Actually, मेरे पीछे अजान की आवाज ऐसे ही आती रहेगी क्योंकि मैं I am on roof and because of my kid is playing downstairs. So I think मेरी आवाज आपको clear आ रही है, कोई issue नहीं होगा. Is it okay now? Okay, fine. Okay, can okay, ma'am, किसने क्वेश्चन किया है? Anam Saeed has asked question. Ma'am, kindly brief this question. The adoption of parliamentary system in Pakistan is the result of political experience of Pakistanis in the past. Yes, I have already answered that the Pakistanis has experienced that in whenever there was a uh, whenever there was a civilian government that was not stable as well, and when martial law was there, there was a one-man show. So in every arena, people were not here to their demands, and this was the thing that Pakistanis experienced without all through the history. So they decided to have a comprehensive system, because the parliamentary system is basically for the people of having different you can say ethnicity, like NWFP, Sindh and Punjab. The people from all these are represented in the government, in this parliamentary system. That's why they people are having an attitude that there should be democracy and people's needs must be here too. Okay, ma'am, was the case of Molvi Tamizuddin a hallmark in the history of Pakistan which gave rise? Yes, it was a hallmark in the history of Pakistan because it gave the doctrine of necessity. Doctrine of necessity state that if the Governor General thinks that political situation is not in the favor and the people are not satisfied, he can impose emergency, he can dissolve assemblies. That was basically scrapped by in the 18th amendment in 1973 constitution. और आप ये देख लें उसके बाद से अब तक कोई भी मार्शल लॉ नहीं लगा, क्योंकि but it gave rise to the political power, because in Ubera he also used doctrine of necessity, and then in Musharraf he also used the doctrine of necessity by introducing 8th amendment. मुर्गा भी रखा हुआ ये साथ नेबर्स का मतलब आपको सारी आवाजें आ रही हैं? वॉइस इज pretty much clear, I think. Okay. Any other question? Explain the Tamizuddin case. Okay, I will explain the Tamizuddin case when a bit slower. Okay. Okay, guys. The Tamizuddin case is basically the case arised out of Governor General Ghulam Muhammad when he dissolved assemblies. He said that on the premise that the assemblies has not taken the approval of Governor General in altering the constitution. Initially, it was an attempt by assemblies to alter the constitution, scrapping the section 9, 10, 10A. It was basically an attempt to amending the constitution. Governor General Ghulam Muhammad immediately stepped forward and dissolved the assembly, and he gave this reason that assembly has not taken its consent. Later on, Tamizuddin, who was basically the Speaker of Constitution Assembly, he went to the High Court and he said that Pakistan is an independent state, and if General Assembly is in session, there is no need to have consent from Governor General. At the same time, at that time, General Munir, yes, no, Justice Munir, basically he was a justice at that moment. Justice Munir gave that okay, there was another justice, can you please recall his name, who said that at that moment that Pakistan is created and it's not dominion state? Who was he? Okay, I will recall it. Let me complete basically what is Maulvi Tamizuddin case. Okay, Maulvi Tamizuddin went to High Court and he said that Pakistan is an independent state. When assembly is in process, then there is no need to have consent. But at the same time, the advocate of Governor General said that Pakistan is a dominion state and the Governor General is all in power. So there is a need of consent. Besides that, as the Governor General think that there is this political situation in the country which is not in the favor of country. So there is a doctrine of necessity which says that if Governor General thinks that there is a situation that is creating political turmoil, he can impose emergency. So this was basically supporting. नो, जस्टिस मनीर के अलावा भी तो था ना एक और जो बहुत जबरदस्त हमारे जस्टिस रहे हैं, उसने बहुत अच्छी एक बात की थी. एक मिनट, लेट मी गूगल इट. आप लोग ना इसको पढ़ना एक दफा खुद ना. वैसे ओवरऑल जो है वो इसका यही है, जो है ना कि देयर वाज अ डॉक्टर. Yes, there was Cornelius. He was a person that was against. He was person that was against the ruling of Governor General. He said that the Pakistan is not now the dominion state of any other country. It has been created and it's truly independent state. It was Justice Cornelius, and at that time there was a Justice Munir who said that no, Pakistan is a dominion state, and according to doctrine of necessity, he approved the step that was taken by Governor General Ghulam Muhammad. So he approved the step that was taken by Ghulam Muhammad, and later on our chief martial law administrators took this doctrine of necessity, and they basically imposed martial law on this. Fine now? Is it clear? This was doctrine of necessity in Justice Cornelius has been a great Chief Justice in our history. And even I would like to add an information in this. Even after when Governor General Ghulam Muhammad was not in a power and things were settled, and Justice Munir gave the statement that he gave his decision under the pressure of Ghulam Muhammad. He gave this statement. Good. Mariam, that's good. आपको नहीं भूलेगा तो. Any other question? Discussion is invited till the end of. Who gave the statement about what? Ma'am, what are political and legal constraints over the sovereignty of Parliament in Pakistan? Legal constraints. Yes, there were the legal constraints, like you can say doctrine of necessity was the legal constraint over the parliamentarian. If the ruling, if the decision of Justice Cornelius prevailed, the assembly would not have been dissolved and the parliamentary government would have continued its term. Don't you think so? The same was in the case with you can say with Musharraf and Ayub, who gave the doctrine of necessity. If there would have been an independent judiciary and they would have decided impartially, parliamentarian system would have prevailed. State versus social, लिख सकते हैं, you can. सान लफ्ज़ समझाते कांडली के भुट्टा को फांसी क्यों हुई और किसके एरा में हुई. Okay, guys, that is very interesting thing. Bhutto was hanged due to the charges he had on him, murder charges he had on him, and later on it was proved that he was innocent of that murder charges. Although the veracity of the statement is accountable, but there was also another charges that was a charges of treachery because of him. Bangladesh and the fall of Dhaka occurred, and it hanged in 1974, I think. No, sorry, in 1900, and after in the Zia era. Zia basically hanged him. And the interesting thing is that He was given the lawyer. There was a chief justice that gave on pending the case, that keep on pending the case, and he was Mushtaq Hussain was basically the person at that time, and he was personally having some reservation and grievances against Bhutto at that time. So you may say that the immediate cause was the murder charges as well as treachery charges. Murder charges were basically later on proved invalid, but the veracity of statement is again that accountable. Whose murder? Kazim, he was basically a opposition person. I think Ahmed Shah Kasuri. Let me search it. Kasuri was the last name of that person. I can remember. Yes, Raza Kasuri. Okay, Raza Kasuri was basically the person. Okay, who was Raza Kasuri? I can answer that. Raza Kasuri was basically an opponent in. Uh, uh, Initially, he formed a People Public Party with him. Initially, he was an ally. Later on, he was having some reservation of how the politics, how the politics within the party is going on. So he opposed it. He opposed it. Is there a good book or online source for 1940? Okay, I will suggest you, Mariam, that you must go through. There is the timeline of from 1947 to present in on Google. You can search it out, and if you want to have a detailed study, as I am preparing for interview, I dive into the information so that I may answer. You must have chronological events, like there was you can say the Bhutto was hanged. You must have the questions in your mind: why he was hanged, what was the situation that occurred, and just ask from yourself on every event, and you will be good to go on history. There was an involvement of USA, as there was a famous message circulating the party song. In which arena, Shahid Khan? In which arena? Are you talking about Ziaul Haq, or are you talking about Bhutto? Yes, Bhutto was not a pro US. He was having many as you must think about what the international order at that time was. You can remember, you can recall that at that time there was a Cold War with the USSR and with the among the USSR and USA. At that time there was a Cold War, and the war was basically the ideological war of democracy and communism. And if one country is tilting towards communism, then definitely US is going to have some interference. Whenever you see a political event, always see what the international order or what the international political happening were at that time. There, I haven't uploaded any video on YouTube, Fatima. I haven't uploaded. I am not good at IT. You watched? I don't even know what video. Named Rabia. That may be another Rabia. My name is Rabia, Rabia. Rabia. There's a difference between Rabia and Rabia. Okay, मैम जियाउल हक के प्लेन क्रैश में किसका था हाथ? Actually, controversies are there. There are many controversies. Ziaul Haq was a person who was playing US card like you can say like no one else. There was a time when you can say the problem of Mujahideen was there. He was initially he was pro US, but he was also playing his card very cunningly, and the US had this reservation at that time. but controversies are there. Nothing is. Ma'am, I have a question. The aids and loans and grants have been flowing into the country since a long time, especially during EU Iran Musharraf era. It really resulted. Yes, aid resulted in economic growth, but that economic growth is coming with at the cost of our debt deficit, at the cost of this. So basically, these aids are adding values and power to that aid giving country too. That is another big topic. We can discuss it on later on. मैम इतने ज़्यादा इवेंट्स हैं ये कैसे याद रहेंगे स्पेशली डेट्स I have said you that please make a timeline. It will help you to remember events. Even I was very bad at history before this interview preparation. I was very bad, but now I can recall many of the events when answering your questions. तो को है क्या सिविल मिलिट्री रिलेशन में हम इस यस सिविल मिलिट्री रिलेशन में आप करंट रिलेशंस को कर सकते हो ग्लिम्स दे सकते हो प्रीवियस का बट इतनी डेप्थ में नहीं जाना अटेम्प्टिंग क्वेश्चन इज एन अदर टेक्निक सर उस्मान वुड हैव told you about that सर उस्मान से बेहतर आपको अटेम्प्टिंग क्वेश्चन कोई भी नहीं बता सकता ठीक है वो आपको वो गाइड करेंगे ठीक है yes I made a timeline but I made very rough on my notes. I cannot share it, but I can share a link of that timeline. So it was a temporary growth and money got drained out. Yes, it was a temporary growth. You're right. Okay, fine. Okay, guys, let's wrap up the discussion. It's 1 hour from as there is 3 o'clock on my laptop screen. So we will have another sessions too. As I have said, Sir Usman, that it gave me confidence. As you people have seen difference of what I have given you in previously and what I have delivered today. There was a lot of difference. When you speak, you get your concepts strong. Okay, guys, just give me a quick feedback how the session went. Was the information helpful? Just give me a quick feedback for 1 or 2 minutes and I'm going to say Allah Hafiz to you guys. Yes, I can share experience, but I can share in the next class. I haven't allocated yet. I have cleared my written exams. I have interview in my hand. Yes, in 2022 attempt. Thank you, Shahid, for this prayer. This prayer is much needed. Okay, I will guide you regarding essay, but nobody can tell better than Sir Usman. I would say you. Okay, guys. Let's wrap up the discussion. We will have another session, inshallah. And okay, see you. All the best for your written exam. May Allah be with you. Allah Hafiz.